Okay, welcome to PowerPoint Chapter 2. What you're going to find in this chapter is there aren't going to be as many videos simply because a lot of what you're learning in this chapter is actually things that you've learned in prior units that you can now apply to PowerPoint. So there's really no point in me sort of reteaching you about formatting fonts and working with bulleted lists and some of the things that are in the skills for this chapter. So I'm just going to cover those things that are sort of new to PowerPoint. So one of those things, and it's not completely new, but just like you had in Excel and Word, is the ability to use templates. And so I'm going to search here for the Celestial template, and when I hit enter, you'll see that it searches all the different templates. And basically, the idea behind templates in PowerPoint is it changes your background, and it also changes the layouts that are available to you. So I'm going to click here, and I see that I just did a single click, and you could change. These are different variants to this particular design theme. So I'm going to go with this one and just click create. But just so you know that these are different variants, we're going to see these in a second when we go into our screen here. So on the design tab, basically all this did was it created a template and it set the theme as the Celestial theme. Over here is the variants, right? So variant 1, 2, 3, 4 just sort of changes the colors that are available. Okay, so now I could type here, and I'm not going to have you, this is where I'm just going to, new employee orientation, I'm going to leave it at that. So we know from the prior video that this is the title placeholder, this is the subtitle placeholder, etc., etc. So now we want to do a new slide. So I'm going to go over to my new slide button. And what you will find is the different layouts that are available to you will be different depending upon the template that you selected. So if you're not seeing the layout for some reason, you want to double check that maybe you didn't pick the correct template. Okay, so here I'm going to say, what to expect, blah, blah, blah. Okay, and we know that here we could type, we could add bullets here, right? We learned this before. We could use these icons to add a picture from our computer. We learned that in the last chapter as well. So imagine though if, and just remember also that you could change the layout, right? So you could change a particular layout here by just coming up here and saying, well, you know what, I just want to make this a picture with a caption layout maybe. And so then you could do that by changing the layout, okay? So the next thing I want to show you is on the design tab, okay? If you want to change a theme, you have the ability to actually change a theme and apply it just to the current slide that you're on. So for example here, I'm going to click on this drop down list and I'm going to locate a different theme. It doesn't really matter which theme. So here we have the gallery theme. Now instead of left clicking on it, what I'm going to do, and you can see how this is significantly different than the first slide, right? But what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click on the theme. And at this point, I can say, hey, do I want to apply it to all slides, which would be the same if I just left click it, or just apply it to the selected slide. And that's what I'm going to pick here. So I'm going to choose to apply it to this particular selected slide. Okay, so now you see I have a different theme for this slide than I do for that slide, which honestly is not something you would typically do, only because you want to have consistency throughout your presentation. But it's nice to know that you can do that if you want to. So there are certain cases where maybe you would want to do that for an end slide or a beginning slide, have a different background to it. So that's how you would do it. You simply right click on a theme, pick apply to selected slide. Okay, so that's all we need to cover for us for the skills 1 and 2.